Welcome to Marketing People Love. My name is Jacques Spitzer, and today's guest is the founder of Ancaller, Ben Perkins. Ben is going to have you ready to swing for the fences. We talk about risk-taking on creative development and what he's learned working with some of the best agencies in the world when it comes to creating brand formants or ads that can drive top of funnel awareness. And I love. Like, he had me feeling like a tiger ready to pounce. I love his perspective on how you have to take risks and how much they mean to not just your customers, but also internally to your team and to potential buyers if you're at retail. We unpack what it feels like to balance taking those risks with just the operational needs of running a business. We talk about what big swings have in common with the Walt Disney's, Mr. Beast, and the Brad Jacobs of the world, this guy who's founded $6 billion companies, right? We're going to talk a lot about creativity. We're going to talk a lot about risk-taking and taking big swings. So, Ben, welcome to Marketing People Love.
Hey, one hell of a podcast. When you invited me, I was like, man, I don't know if I'll make for one hell of a podcast guest, but you're a friend. And I'm like, hey, I like talking with this guy. So at the very least, hopefully people like listening to us talk to each other.
You do have a very genuine humility, which I've appreciated. I will be the one to hype you up throughout this podcast because I know that you are not going to accept it. But one of the big reasons that I've wanted to have you on, I'm excited to have this conversation is, there are a lot of people out there who have products and they sell products. There are people out there who are building a brand, investing in brand, who are pushing themselves and taking swings. And I feel like as I've followed your journey and now been part of it, I have seen you do that. I mean, you guys have done some incredible work with a group called Creatively, I believe out of Utah. Yes. And I'm a massive fan of theirs. They're like one of the few agencies in the world that, like, if I didn't run an agency that I love and believe in, I would totally work with them. They're incredible. You guys have done now work with us. You've done things internally, you've done things externally. And I'm so curious to hear, what have you learned? Like, how long have you been into the Ancaller brand and business? And let's just start with, like, what have you learned along the way that maybe you didn't expect when it came to building a brand?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't buy a book for myself, but it would be valuable if I was starting a new business because I've learned so much, and mostly of what not to do. They say
That's the game, right?
Yeah. Experience is the best teacher. And it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that again. There are very few things I would do again. And, parlaying that into your question, you talked about big swings, and we've taken big swings. Every time that we have taken a big swing, there is at least growth, if not top line growth. It's like, hey, we at least learned something where but I think there is correlation with swinging and then, P&L growth. You look, and when we stopped swinging is when we stopped growing, or at least grew much slower. And so learned tons and tons along the way. One would be just swing. I'm in my little brother-in-law's room. I couldn't talk about most of the paraphernalia, but a lot of it is baseball. So maybe I'm just inspired by baseball right now. But it's like, hey, we're here doing business. If you don't want to take, and I think this is something that I appreciated most about the Raindrop Group. And I'm not saying that just because I'm talking to you, but it's like, hey,
I appreciate it, but tell me more.
Yeah. You pushed us or your team pushed us out of the comfort zone where it's like, hey, you have done a lot of the exact same stuff over and over again, specifically like stain repellent. It's like, oh, we know that's clickbaity, but it's been done. And I don't know how much better we can do than what Creatively did in a $250,000 production, $250,000 production of Kool-Aid on Grandpa. It's like, it's awesome slow-mo, and we've done it. And it's like, hey, if you just keep reshooting the same thing, that's not swinging. But it's like, hey, why don't we just talk about comfort? And this was something you said, Jacques, that was, I thought, illuminating and helped get us over the line. It's like, hey, you talk about all these features, but the main reason that guys buy shirts is because they feel good, whether like comfort wise, or they know that they look good and they got a compliment,
right.
Stereotyping from their spouse or partner, where it's like, totally. Hey, if I get a compliment from my coworker on that shirt, you know what the main shirt I'm going to wear next week? That shirt. Or I'm going to buy one just like it. And so it's like, I think the swing was, hey, it's safe to show cool features. We wanted to be purple so bad, where it's like, oh, let's show the Goldilocks of the shirt. But it's like the harder thing and the bigger swing that speaks to more people is it's like, this is just a great shirt that is comfortable and you will feel good in. And so all that to be said, when we swing and keep trying new things is when P&L has grown and like the business is fun. When we've just kind of bunkered down, or I guess hunkered down in the bunker. And it's like, hey, let's stay safe. Let's weather the storm. It's like, oh, that's all that we do and we survive. So
Yeah.
all that to be said, I'm a big fan of big swings.
Okay. So Ben, you got me. I feel like a tiger that just like someone opened the cage. I mean, the number of times I'm on a call with someone and they're just like, man, my brand's doing X, Y, and Z. And, but I don't know that I can afford to take this swing. And sometimes this is coming from people with $200 million brands, Ben. We're not talking about someone with, 3 million, 5 million annual run rate. And I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, okay, the reason we're talking is that you've seen what happens when the Dr. Squatches and the natives and the Loomies and the Groons and the list goes on. When they take that swing and it connects, you can hit a home run. And what I feel from so many people is they're like, listen, how can I like swing for a safe single, but like also get the results of a home run? Is there something I could do like that? Is there like a way to like, just kind of like try to make contact and like, maybe we could test and iterate and into this and to just like not go, I don't want to take a big swing. But I really like, man, it'd be great if I got this big result. And I'm also thinking to myself, like, wait. So you're doing, well, let's pick a number, $50 million. And I'm like, okay, you want, like, would you feel an extra $2 or $3 million in sales? Or like, do you actually need to like unlock an entirely new channel, a la connected television, YouTube, I don't know, some other channel that can give you the ability to spend a lot more and acquire way more customers? And so like this metaphor is something that I talk about so much because it's like, it's in any level of investment. If I want to make money in the stock market, I can't put $1,000 in unless it's like a meme coin, whatever. Like you can't put $1,000 in and become a millionaire. It's just
Way
like,
to
that's not
censor
how it
yourself.
works. Yeah. You
Yeah.
felt it. I was like, Ben
coming.
has Ben and I both have my mom listens. We have a religious audience. I want to make sure I don't want an E next to the episode,
Of
a
course.
little explicit. So anyway, for fudge's sake, Ben, we've already said one hell of a shirt, so we're
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
screwed. But I can't tell you how much I am jiving with that. I think, tell me a little bit about your perspective of everyone talks about top of funnel, right? And I want to be very clear. You guys have a brand and a product that you could stick into Google, Google Shopping and into Meta with a static image of your shirts and they will sell. So how do you think about when someone says like, oh, like building a brand, top of funnel, like what comes to your mind around like, and I know it'll parlay with your first answer, but everyone's like, let me put it this way. Most people talk about doing it and they don't actually do it. You guys do
Yeah.
it. So like, what do you think about? How do you think about top of funnel?
Yeah, the asterisk I'd put next to my this or at least thought, not answer, is we stopped thinking about it and totally neglected it and are now paying the price. And actually, that's a big reason why we came to you. So revenue-wise, just quick story. First year, full-time, 300,000 in revenue. Next year, 2 million. I'd say the main impetus was we spent 40% of revenue on basically 2 ads, which were produced by Creatively, some awesome work and fun videos and, heroes. And we went from 300,000 to 2 million. And the next year we went from 2 to 6.7. And mind you, we didn't have good ad buying. So it wasn't, oh, these guys did it in the glory days. It's like, if we had a good if we did ad buying well and before the cookie apocalypse, it's like we would be 100 million right now. We sucked at it. So somehow between product and great campaigns, we grew in spite of ourselves and, supply chain issues. So it wasn't like we were performance guys. It just, there was a nice blend. So I need to put that there. And we went to 6.7 million. And the next year was to 10. And each year would like spend against a new video. And then I think, lied to ourselves. Well, one, we overhired. That's one. Two, we lied to ourselves and we're like, oh, we can keep riding behind the same content and like, let's just extract more value for all net new customers. But it's like, hey, I don't want this to be a lifestyle business and I don't want us to acquire Jacques and, make $80 off him on first purchase. I mean, I'd love to, but not at the expense of finding 4 of you, which is
Right.
really what we
Right.
did. And so if you look at our profitability per cohort, that increased, but our total new cohort or new customer size, I mean, literally shrunk year over year. So our business has grown top line year over year, every single year, which is exciting. But it's like we were just way too reliant on existing customers. So
Right.
2 data points and learnings that we're trying, and again, why we came to you. One, like, okay, we know every new customer cohort, when aggregated by month, makes money at the very least after 9 months. So it's like, I
Yep.
know you're going to break even in 9 months. It takes a little bit of faith, but it's like, hey, we got 6 years of data, so I don't think it's just like a prayer. It's
Right.
science. And so it's like, okay, we know we can make money on them regardless of what CAC is. It's like after 9 months, 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. So if we did that, then why wouldn't we acquire as many new customers as possible? I mean, it's not a
Right.
Casper like economics issue where we need you to come back in 8 years.
Right.
Or
Right. Right. Yeah. It's interesting because you don't have quite the same cycle as like a pure consumable
Yep.
would, right?
We're not a Groons. I wish we were.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not subscribe or truly
Yep.
subscribable, probably type of product, but it is something that at this point you have more than faith. You have statistics that says,
Yep.
hey, for every blank number of people that buy our product, at least 20%, 30%, 40% will come back and buy because all they really need to do, I mean, you're not going to find a more comfortable dress shirt. Like you guys nailed that, right? Like you were like, yeah, this is a good looking, the most comfortable dress shirt that you can make. And yes, it is also, to your point, stain repellent, which is very much like eye candy. I mean, when my son saw the ad, he was like, oh, he's 9. And he's like,
Well,
Dad, can you buy me one? And I'm like, the only reason he wants one is he wants to test that. He wants to pour
yeah.
orange juice down his shirt. He doesn't
Uh-huh.
actually want to wear a collared
A
shirt.
dress shirt. Yep.
He just wants to pour stuff down it, which, mind you, like is a very real thing. Like some of us just want to know, what does it
Yeah.
feel like to do that? I do want to ask you about, I mean, look, business is hard. Right? Business is hard. I saw that you posted the other day, too, about like your, like whether it's like finance partners and manufacturing partners. I mean, we're living in a world where you guys have been changing where you manufacture all, like, so you're diversified and luckily it sounds like even maybe before this like tariff stuff of
Yeah.
this year, there is something truly beautiful about investing in yourself and investing in yourself as a brand, and like your
Really.
team sees it, like they see you investing in yourselves, they're excited about it. Like what is the team's response to seeing the swings?
Oh, I mean, it's excitement because I think there's also nothing almost more demoralizing than like stagnation. And that's not to say, oh, let's not do like the everyday things that are important to powering a business. It's
Of
like, oh,
course.
all the unsexy things to come out with the one hell of a shirt. It's like there's so many random tasks that are, you've got people steaming shirts for the 4th time back there. It's like
Yep.
there's stuff that you never think about. And same with running an e-commerce business. So it's like that stuff isn't fun. And but you can't neglect it. But I think, yeah, taking the swings collectively as a team, it's like, hey, and we actually for the first time just launched brand values. And we're doing a 6-week sprint to get momentum again, all timed around one hell of a shirt. Cause it's like, hey, this is a new era of and color. It's like we grew awesome for 4 or 5 years. We grow a little bit, like 10 and some change, 11 and some change for 2.5 years. It's like, let's get ourselves out of the doldrums and like go and, kind of knees sliding into the next phase. And it's exciting. It's like, hey, let's just take care of the honey-do list. And publicly, we all call out, oh yeah, I'm knocking out this, X, Y, Z. And it feels for the first time that there's energy again. It's like, oh yeah, we all feed off that.
Mm,
And when you as a team member get comments or it's like, oh yeah, my cousins saw the ad on, they're watching ESPN The Ocho and a remnant
right.
TV ad and I saw one of a hell of a
Yes.
shirt at midnight. It's like, yeah,
Right.
you're gonna get stoked. So, and then, I think the anchor and why I believe in what you do and what other people like you do, it's like, oh, that's brand building. I know that's not brand, and we could have a long discussion about that. It's like it's brand building. I would go to the grave on that one, where
Right.
that's what you're telling consumers that you are. It's like, hey, we're one hell of a shirt. We have other stuff too, and we say that at the end. It's like, oh, guess what? That helps power wholesale. Wholesale's way up, and you know who's going to see an ad for one hell of a shirt? It's like the buyer for Men's Warehouse. And guess what? They did the
Yep.
largest PO in history for us. So all that to be said, I think you need to find like an anchor point to say, hey, this is when things change. Or this is where we're going to draw energy and momentum from, and let's go.
Yep.
And one hell of a shirt genuinely has been that for us.
So, Ben, I'm gonna jump off of that and say this year. So this has been something that's actually, I think maybe because we had our roots in D2C, and then now I would say probably a majority of the brands we work with are actually larger in retail than they are like Spruce and Native, and those are on like the Procter and Gamble side. You know, Meiji Hello Panda, which is again almost 100% retail. Of course, they have different things. Cremo, as an example. When we have these brands that are very retail heavy, what I think a lot of people may not realize is like you have two customers. You have the customer who decides to put you in the store or give you more shelf space or give you more SKUs. And then you also have the end customer who then has to go through and create velocities of actually buying. And it's like they can't buy it unless it's on the shelf. And what we realize with great big swing advertising is that it excites the buyers at the retail level to be like, oh, we're going to give you more shelf space. We're going, like, you're investing in yourself, and so we're going to invest in you. And I've started seeing it over and over now where I'm like, oh, like this is a bigger deal than I realized to the buyer customers at the retail level. And I imagine that's a newer thought for you guys as you went, you're like, we're just, as our wholesale grows. I found that interesting that you're like, yeah, of course this matters to the buyer at blank.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of people don't think of.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why, again, I'm pro spending on going back to your question about top of funnel. It's like you neglect that sucker, the business is done. You can only retarget someone so many times on Meta. It's like, you got to find net new eyeballs, especially if you've got a universal product, like all the brands you said. You know, I think a dress shirt's universal, at least for half of America who wear men's dress shirts.
Right.
And so, yeah, go build like ubiquity as the dress shirt, because you're the only one investing. And you're talking about tariffs and it's uncertain times and how do you draw energy? I'm like, and again, thanks to your team for being flexible, but it's like, hey, we're out of Ethiopia for the most part. We're not out, we got China still, but it's like, hey, let's push when everyone else is pulling. Like, let's go be the idiots who spend when no other dress shirt is spending. And it's like, hey, we're a value brand. We've always said that. It's at you're sub $50. It's like, oh, and yeah, I think everything, like, my hope is, I could be totally wrong and this podcast could get deleted from the face of the earth because we could be out of business. But what I think is, it's like, hey, the storm is brewing, and at like the very epicenter, it's like there's a value dress shirt. People have to go back to the office and they can't wear t-shirts anymore because it's a return. You know, you got to stand out a little bit in a tougher work environment. It's like, dress shirt, great.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys make more than dress shirts, right? Like dress shirts are the big driver, but I know you obviously you do more, and you have like short collar, you know, short sleeve shirts, like all the things, right? And it's funny because I constantly fluctuate, and I'll be curious to your response to this too. Is like I constantly fluctuate between being like, oh, I don't take. Personally, I think to myself, like, oh, here I am. I feel like, oh, I take big swings. We invest in ourselves. We do these things. And then I read certain things, or I learn certain things. And I'm going to give you a couple of like examples where I go, oh, like, and so like, I just got done reading this book, How to Make a Couple Billion, or How to Make Billions, and something like that. It was a book sent to me actually by one of my mentees. And it was got this guy named Brad Jacobs. Never heard of him. He started 6 companies that have all become worth more than $1 billion.
Wow.
And I know I'd never heard of him. Now, I had the only company that I knew of public, like facing wise from my own experience, was United Rentals. So he started United Rentals.
Okay.
And we did some work with United Rentals probably like 5+ years ago. And it was a really unique culture. Like I was like, whoa, like this is intense. Like I don't know any way to put it, but like it was intense. And in reading his book, and there was other stories like this, like we've done some work with Mr. Beast, for example, and I got to see a little bit of how he operates. I would say Walt Disney was this way too, where you look at these people that are their risk tolerance is honestly at a level that like I'm not at. Like if I'm
Mhm.
really honest, like I hate the idea of missing. I hate the idea of taking a swing and striking out, like, and it having it impact my team and my people, and like, but like, when you hear Walt Disney's story, I mean, he took all the money he made from his first two films and then built a massive production, made four more, and was like, he almost went bankrupt like three times. You look at Mr. Beast, he got $100 million to put on his first show, and he spent 120. He lost $20 million. Like, it's unfathomable to most people that he would do. It feels reckless. Like, what are you doing? But he's willing to go like, oh no, no, no. Like, I'm going to swing at the biggest levels. And this Brad Jacobs guy, like, what I realized was he was just willing to, I'm gonna raise the money, I'm gonna gobble up businesses, I'm going to acquire at scale, like, I'm going to make the most of this idea of company culture. And we get all the way back, and I'm just like, oh, like, my idea of what a big swing is like investing in a video. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
holy smokes. I feel like I'm thinking so small. I'm curious just, as you're thinking about, like, you're talking about taking big swings creatively, it's like you're already a step ahead than where most people get to on that mindset. When I have you ever thought about like, are we are we taking big enough swings, or am I being too safe? Where and how have those moments like come up throughout these last 4 or 5 years? And you're probably feeling them right
Yeah,
now. At least you feel like you're taking some risks, but like maybe you're feeling like, oh, maybe I should be going bigger. I don't know. Like
yeah.
what's going through your mind?
For sure, a parabola. I had to Google it
Yeah.
just to make sure I wasn't making that one up. It's
Parabola.
been a
Thank you
while. Yeah,
for double checking.
it's been a while. I don't wanna feed misinformation on this podcast. Where, yeah, again, I know I keep harping on it, but it's like, hey, the numbers paint the picture. When I was more risk tolerant, again, we spent 250,000, probably 300 grand. We did 2.1 million in revenue 2020. And, most of that was realized towards the tail end of the year, but we spent
Yeah.
800 plus thousand on Meta. Content creation was another 300,000. Gross margin is like 57%. We stacked debt on top of, every cheap debt out there and loan shark. So it's like, oh, that was a lot of risk tolerance. I look back, like, oh my gosh. I was like,
Right.
what was wrong with me? And then again, we go in the middle and it's like, oh, we didn't take big swings. We weren't trying fun things. And now it's like, it's for sure more cautious than we were before. And I think
Yeah.
there's something to like prudence. But that
Yeah.
said, we're actually right in the midst of, okay, how big do we go on spending behind one hell of a shirt? Again, that being the reference point, because
Right.
it's like, hey, that's where we spend against. Like
Right.
there are other things we could do, but in terms of like actual dollars and risk tolerance, it's like, hey, why don't we go spend 400 grand against it? Because again, we know for new customers that we acquire, they're going to make money. But can we
Yep.
get ourselves to, like Indiana Jones? Can we take the step? We'll see.
So here's what I'll to make it really specific to advertising and top of funnel. What's fascinating is when I look back, because like I look back at the trends of what happened when brands broke out, and I'm going to define breaking out as growing by more than 200% in, we'll call it, over in a year,
Yeah.
right? Some of these brands have gone hyperbolic beyond that. And there's two things I tend to see over and over again. One is they have two channels that they're able to acquire customers and build awareness through, right? Two, not just capture demand, but like actually
Oh, good.
create some. And I feel like the starting point for that is Meta, because Meta has the best like one-to-one user behavior between like I saw the ad, I clicked on it, I bought it. I would say that like if I look at, when you look at the Groonses and the Dr. Squatches and the Natives and all these other brands, it's like they can get you can get caught in this thing where it's like, wait, so my Meta's giving me this result and it looks great. But when I put it into anything else, it just looks lower. Why would I invest or spend in another channel? And then you start triangulating and realizing like, oh, wait a second, when I look at my branded search lift, when I look at like these other indicators, my post-purchase surveys, my overall sales, like you start seeing these like moments of and trends where like, oh, I can have a little bit more faith in investing in these channels. Even if the numbers, I would say like you kind of have to find your own, like every channel should actually have its own like measurements and cat goals. You can't use the exact same ones because they're not going to, people are going to react and act very differently. But here's the true secret is that you can't necessarily, like if you're a brand that has what I call like natural buying moments, that's when you pick the fruit from
Mhm.
all these investments. And I've seen it like with laundry sauce. And I've seen it. I remember with Dr. Squatch, it was like, yes, they were growing so rapidly, but holy smokes, when Q4 rolled around, they were able to get people who had never bought soap to buy $120 super pack.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
laundry sauce. It's like this is a brand that's selling very expensive laundry detergent that is like I believe it's worth it if you check it out. Like it's hard to go back. So if you don't buy it unless you plan on like being like, well shoot, now I gotta go back to regular schmegular. It's great. It's an incredible laundry product. And it's like they spend all year and they're acquiring, and then Q4 comes around and boom, like it's a buying event. And you guys are going to have those buying events, like you mentioned Q4, maybe Father's Day.
Mhm.
You would know your tentpole moments, but it's like there's a moment where most brands, like in wellness space, it's Q1, Q2, where all of a sudden people's awareness like goes up, quite a bit more, and that's where you get to pick the fruit of investing in building your brand and momentum. And I've seen it like again, like I've seen it over and over again. I know that's how the game is played, and somehow it's it we don't always do it that way because it feels like, well, I need to win right now, always. And you guys have taken those swings. And I just I don't know, I can't help myself because I'm like, I'm so excited for you guys to see what comes next because I know you're making those investments.
That is the hardest part about the risks for sure, where it's like, oh, we're planting seeds for 6 months from now, a year from now. And again, you're talking about post-purchase survey. Our new CMO has been much more dialed in on that, where it's like, hey, let's see what they're telling us. But yeah, and the
Mm,
number of new customers, because you segment it by returning versus new, the number of new that have known about us for more than 6 months, a year, it's like, oh, that's a pretty significant portion, much
yep.
greater than the people who knew about us for a day and saw the one ad. Where it's like, oh
Right.
yeah, you gotta, yeah, you gotta bet on the future. I mean, you're betting on
Yeah.
futures, not, today, which for sure is tough. Also, I only use Egyptian rose, so I know my laundry sauces. Uh, this the last thing I'll say. What's most interesting to me and to us about Raindrop, you have the interesting incubator. It wasn't. We always get scared off when we see big logos on agencies' websites where it's like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not a. We're not Oreo. Like that doesn't impress me because we're not America's cookie.
Yeah.
Where
With
eh,
100% brand awareness.
yeah, where it's like,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
I like you show me the NFL as a logo as a customer, I'm out of here. They don't know how to take. Well, they took big swings 60 years ago or whatever. It's like, I'm sorry. To your point about like a swing when you're doing whatever Oreo does, 5 billion a year. It's like everyone knows. Like, don't tell me that the 100th anniversary cookie that's peanut butter is a big swing.
Yeah.
uh,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, but what most interesting was, and what got us over the line was talking to the founders that you had worked with. So Laundry Sauce and Dr. Scotch, where it's like, hey, from the beginning, like we took swings.
Yep.
And so that was what was interesting because I think those are the only ones who can actually speak to us and be like, hey, we had to plant, like we spent 60% of revenue or whatever Laundry Sauce did year one. But guess what? Now we do 12% or what, those numbers are
Yeah,
made up.
right, right, right.
But
No, I understand what you mean. I
yeah.
mean that it is helpful to get those perspective. You do, you strike me as someone who does seem pretty plugged in. Like you've always, you're a friendly guy, man. Like you're pretty plugged in. I'm curious, what does like learning from other people, other founders, like have you plugged into certain communities? Do you like where do you find that? Because I will say I meet a lot of people who are very alone, very isolated, feel like maybe everyone's a competitor. I don't want to tell people my secrets. You've been a little bit of the reverse. Like you're very like I wouldn't say you're building in public, but you are very comfortable with yourself and talking to others, talking up others. I would say you're the most likely person I know to build up a competitor and be like, go them. You're just like you're a nice guy. Where do you get those connection points in that POV?
Yeah, I think being open has honestly let a lot of stuff come inbound because it's like, hey, we don't help each other if we don't talk specifics. It's like, talking friends who have talked specific. It's like, hey, one of my really good buddies, one of my best friends now is Corey Stevens. He started Taft, if you remember the
Yeah.
luxury boots.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you know what? It was helpful because he told me 8 million revenue. This is what we spent, how we spent, where we spent. This is how opening up our own stores lifted or what costs look like. It's like, hey, we should have friendships before just talking business, but in a business sense, it's like we don't we don't help each other in talking really vague. And I'm like, hey, honestly, I don't know if I can help you. Like if I'm helpful, if you're like 80 million, it's like, honestly, there's very little that I can tell you at 15,
Yeah.
because you've already done
Yeah.
it. But in the other way, it's like, hey, why don't you tell me what you did at 15? So one, I think that has been like attractive to people. And then they open up as well. I'm like, hey, we're all helping each other because now we're saying, hey, use Raindrop. Don't use X or Y because it wasn't a great experience. It's like, and then each time you do one of those and it actually turns out to be a win, or you share like a tech vendor that's working really well, that works great. But mostly I'd say I'd benefit from being in Utah. It's a small community, but there are lots of e-com founders. I'd say per
Hmm.
capita, we punch above our weight, it feels like.
Yeah, there is like such a Utah community.
Yeah.
Like from like just I mean, I'd love for you, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but like how many brands are out there? Because it's like I know, man, the people from there's so many. There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah,
are
I could
out there.
list
You
off
guys have
about
Cookie
12
Wars out there.
Yeah, we have Cookie Wars, of course. We're all stoked
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, really quickly, I could go through. You've got the Cozy Earth, 9-figure
Mhm.
brand. You've got Pillow Cube. You've got Thread Wallets. You've got Just Ingredients, another 9-figure brand. You've got Clean Simple Eats. Oh,
Things you
Kodiak.
can wear, things you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
eat. Yeah.
yeah. Kodiak cakes
Yep.
started here. Black Rifle Coffee. There are
I
a lot
mean,
of brands.
it, there's a hotbed there,
Oh,
for sure.
Kizik.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I was gonna say Kizik is
yes,
honestly probably
Kizik.
the biggest on the side. Yeah.
That was definitely a brand that I just had someone that was previously with Kizik on the podcast and
Brett Swenson.
Brett. It was Brett Swenson.
Yeah, awesome guy.
Brett is awesome and he had such incredible experiences with both Purple and Kizik and a super super smart guy. So yeah, no, I mean I've made a lot of friends out of Utah. I'm just waiting for someone to invite me out there to hang out. No one
Oh, are
seems to
you
be
kidding? I'd send you
uh,
I'll send you a formal invite in a Jacques Spitzer style, but you should come because it's like, oh yeah, talking about Brent Swenson. It's like, hey,
yeah.
I see him probably once a quarter. We bump into each other. I mean, he straight up told us how Kizik's and Purple's meetings. Oh, Purple is another, yeah, obviously, how their meetings worked. Where it's like, hey, it's really helpful when you told us when you were at 20 million in revenue that you had a meeting of 4, including a finance guy, and said, hey, the goal is we're going to increase spend by 10% week over week, which I'm like, that's crazy, or 5% week over
Yeah.
week. I'm like, that's crazy, but all
Yeah.
agreeing upon constraints like CAC goals or whatever. I'm like, hey, that is so helpful. And guess what? Next week, no joke, Collar is going to copy Purple and Kizik. And it's like, hey, it's because they were open and told us. They didn't need to tell us, I mean, tons of specifics, but like, this is how we did it. And to your point, it's like, how do you continue to grow on other channels? And that's why those brands grew. So I'd say I benefit mostly from being in Utah where people seem to be pretty helpful. Or you go straight up at war with each other. It's binary. Yeah. You either
Dude,
start at exact competitive or you help.
I like to say the ROI on kindness is infinite. And I will say, you don't strike me, Ben. If someone ends up in a war with you, Ben, they are not someone I want to know. I'll tell my wife sometimes, I'm like, look, there's two types of people out there. There are people that like me and people that don't. And the people that don't, like, there must be something wrong with them. So I don't want to know them anyway. I don't like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just be nice and do my best to be
Yeah.
nice. And like, if you don't like me, that's on you.
Yep.
So Ben, if someone's at war with you, I will say that not only are they at war with me, they are dead to me. I do not want to know them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because there's something wrong with them. Thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast, man. You have me looking for how I can swing bigger. So we're gonna see what I can do in the next couple months.
Well, thanks for having me. Hopefully there were at least some nuggets, and hopefully every single viewer on here sees one hell of a shirt in an organic, well, we'd pay for it, but in an organic way for them.
All right, that's what we have for you today. If you enjoyed this episode of Marketing People Love, make sure to subscribe and check out all of the episodes that we have coming up, both the episode I talked about with Brett Swenson and some of the others we have coming out soon with brand leaders and founders that are making an impact and taking big swings. Until next time, this was Jacques Spitzer signing off.